starting our broadcast this Friday, July 21st. Hello, everybody. Happy Friday. My name is Asha Gelkero, the marketing person at Tentho, and we have with us today Gilbert Ruiz. Oh my goodness, Gilbert, you and I speak quite often. He is the customer success manager for Tentho. We have quite the fascinating conversations usually between you and I about most random topics.
Oh yeah.
But today we are here for a very specific reason. So today we're going to get to know Gilbert better, and we're going to get some of his 2 cents on advice for the most common challenges and topics associated to running a small business. So Gilbert, want to say hello?
Of course. Hi everyone. Like she mentioned, I'm Gilbert. I'm here, the customer success manager at Tentho, and really glad to be here.
So first, Gilbert, I already mentioned this to you. I want to ask you a couple of questions about how did you get here? Not here, I mean like right in this moment. But I mean,
Yeah,
Tentho. How did you get to Tentho? And tell us a little bit about your journey. Like, where did you come from? How did you get to be in your role in the sales department role? What brings you to Tentho in general? How long you've been with Tentho? Go ahead.
great question. So my background really comes in small businesses and startups, if you will, helping them to grow and scale. And so I helped a local brand here in South Florida grow in their business journey from just being one store location, really in the hospitality industry, all the way up to double-digit locations, franchising all over the country. And during COVID, things got pretty difficult for hospitality, so I made a pivot into financial services, which is how I got to Tentho. I actually had met our co-founder Helen in a specific setting, if you will, networking and just building relationships, and we had a really good conversation, and that's kind of what sparked the next conversations for me to join Tentho when the company was just starting about 3 years ago, and helping obviously in my own way to help this company continue scaling and get to where we're at now.
And look, over the past 3 years, Tentho started when you started 3 years ago. Today, Tentho is the second fastest growing company in South Florida, which is amazing, right? So for everybody watching, Gilbert is the person you would meet when you sign up with us for a conversation about your financial management needs. If you want to schedule a call with Gilbert right now, you could do so by following the link on the bottom. He is your first team member that you meet at Tentho. So let's dive right into it. Let's talk about the most common challenges small business owners have and your ultimate solution, a very short ultimate solution to those most common pain points. But first, let me just say, you've been here for 3 years. You must have spoken to hundreds of business owners, people all across the nations from different industries, different states within their business journey. So I'm sure you have heard quite a few different stories and just things that probably should be written in a book somewhere, probably a thriller, I'm assuming. So let me focus on the more common challenges. First, let's talk about cash flow management. What is your advice, 2 cent advice on small business owners' cash flow management needs?
That's a great question. I mean, I personally think cash flow itself is one of the most important, if not the most important, reasons why many businesses were actually able to make a hard pivot during COVID. The ones that were just very cash poor just did not have the ability to sustain themselves because they had no cash reserves. And so I think being able to improve your cash position really puts you in a better position to continue growing the way you want to scale your own business and obviously get to those goals that you want. I do think that there is a common misconception that there is that cash flow that's coming in is just being distributed as it needs to be, and there is no control over that. And I think there are questions that you can ask yourself, specifically regarding AR, for instance, accounts receivable, right? People may owe you, but why did they owe you? Is there a system in place that you have that potentially is not allowing you to get paid when you need to get paid? I mean, do you need AR? That's actually a good question from the beginning. Is it better to just have a flat fee or a retainer as opposed to just hourly billing? Could you get terms with your vendors? Is it possible to instead having net 30 agreement, maybe have a net 90, so it gives you a little bit more breathing room? Are there any bad clients that you have, people that you just don't enjoy working with and they actually don't pay?
Yeah.
Do you need to actually make them just friends and not business partners? And accept that maybe there is a problem. Maybe you do need guidance. I would say that that's the overarching theme of our conversation. Guidance. You need someone that's an expert in what you're trying to achieve, that can come in and really partner with you to help you reach your goals, because at the end of it, nobody is in business by themselves.
Yeah.
That's actually a choice. You are in business for yourself, but not by yourself. You can actually choose to partner with people that can help you move your business forward.
Thank you for that. All right, let's move on to the second one. Tax compliance and reporting. This is one of those things that makes people not sleep at night quite often. What's your advice for small business owners whose major concern is tax compliance and reporting?
That one's very simple. I would just say, give to Caesar what Caesar's, right? Make sure that your silent partner, which everybody has as a business owner, Uncle Sam gets his, and just don't mess with it. Nobody wants to mess with the IRS. Just get a professional that actually knows what they're doing, that has a good team around them, and just get them to do it. Unless you're a CPA yourself and you want to spend your time doing that, then go for it.
Yes. So one of the things that I've heard quite a few times being spoken about within the small business community is just the letters that you get from the IRS, right? If you've done something wrong or haven't done anything, but they need some verification, you just put that off, because just opening or seeing that those 3 letters on an envelope puts you off, and you don't want to have a bad day. You don't want to open it. So you leave it there, and you leave it for a week, a month, and then half a year and a year, and then you're in trouble. So in addition to what you've mentioned, seek professional help. Also do it in a timely manner, because that's not going to go away, right? It's always going to be there unless you take care of it. So open up that envelope, get the bad news or whatever news, and then make a plan for it by speaking to a professional. Sorry for
the only thing that I would add for that actually is, by having a professional, when those letters do come in, you can actually verify, have peace of mind whether or not you are liable for anything. Because many times in the process of filing your taxes, you may get letters, but they may mean nothing because a professional is actually taking care of it. But by you not knowing, it just causes a lot of stress, unnecessary stress, to be honest.
Awesome. Let's go to the third and last common challenge for small business owners, which is financial planning and budgeting. What's your advice for that common issue?
Yeah, I mean, that's a big one as well. I mean, I do think that in business and in life, really, I mean, a budget is so important. And it's not necessarily a constraint. It's actually freedom. When you tell your money what to do, you actually can get to where you want to get to. I feel like when a business owner is kind of just swiping the card and just not really paying attention, not having their books, reconciled by someone else, it really makes it very difficult for you to keep track of what's being spent, what's actually coming in. I've had many conversations, unfortunately, where business owners come in and say, hey, look, I'm making this much money. And it's like, cool, but how much are you keeping? Where is that being allocated? And all these different questions, although they seem common sense, in the midst of being a business owner wearing 10, 15 different hats, you don't always think about these things. So it's good to have a sounding board, someone that can be like, hey, look, let's put this together. Let's run these budget versus actual reports that can give you clarity onto where you want it to go.
I love that, because it's so beneficial or needed and necessary for small business owners, but also on the personal level. If we could all have a budget and really clarity onto where we want to go, I think we would all be able to sleep better at night. All right. Thank you for that, Gilbert. Let's move on to the second question. So imagine you're waking up in the body of a business owner, and it's a business owner that's struggling to keep their business afloat. What are the 3 tips or things that you would do right away as that owner to try to turn your business around and succeed?
It's a really good question. I mean, for sure, like I mentioned before, guidance. I would really look for someone that has the results that you want, that's in the same industry that you are in, that they are actually succeeding in what you're wanting to do. And honestly, put your head down a little bit, get a little bit humble and say, hey, look, I need some help. Is there any way that I can just even pick your brain and understand how you got to where you're wanting to go? The other thing I would say for sure is, don't be so hard on yourself. take a breather and really think strategically. Okay, what is it that I'm actually trying to achieve? And get people around you that can help you achieve that. And the other thing is work with who you actually want to work with. Don't just let anybody through the door. I know sometimes as a small business owner, you're thinking, I just need to get as many people as I can in here.
Yeah.
That's not necessarily true, because maybe you can cause yourself a lot of headaches. Many times it's working with the right people, quality over quantity, that helps you get to where you want to get to.
Absolutely. And just like you've mentioned, quality over quantity. It is so easy to get caught up with the I need more customers. But if you don't build those relationships and work with people that are meaningful to your life, it's not going to be a pretty ride, right?
I agree.
All right, let's go to the next question. Thank you for that. You're hosting a TED Talk on the topic of the art of small business accounting. What is your core message to the audience?
All right. Well, actually, I would probably paint a picture, and I would say, just imagine you're a business owner, and Monday rolls around. You're up at 6 a.m. You have a meeting at 9:30, and you're just going grinding. Tuesday comes along, Wednesday, Thursday, your kids have something after school, so you don't really get to get things going. And meanwhile, this whole time you're thinking, I need to reconcile my books because the month end is coming. I need to figure some stuff out. I need to better my cash position. I need to have some strategic conversations, but I need my numbers. I need the reports first before I can have these. And Friday comes along and you're thinking, at least a weekend, I'll get some time. And then on Saturday runs along, you get a flat tire, your dishwasher's leaking, your kids get sick, and you're like, geez, can I just get a break? And then Sunday comes along and then it's 9 p.m. at night. Everybody's finally sleeping. You're like, I finally have some time for myself. And then you spend 5 hours trying to work on your numbers and figure out that you still can't reconcile to zero. And you're thinking, what am I missing here? And then you still realize that you have to wake up the next day at 6 a.m. because you have a meeting on the other side of town. And you're just going, why am I spending all this time doing this that I don't like to do when I can invest in a strategic partnership with someone that can do it for me?
Yeah.
That's exactly how it started. Because at the end of it, that's really most business owners, they get into business for a specific reason, and then they end up having to take up all these other responsibilities that are not their expertise. I would say focus on what you do best, outsource the rest.
Absolutely. The time versus value, right,
Correct.
equation is something that is so critical. And it becomes so much easier to solve that issue when you know that it's not going to break the bank. Right? Because I feel like a lot of small business owners don't realize how affordable in most cases accounting services can be, especially to start off with and take that burden out of your everyday schedule. Awesome. Thank you for that. Let's go to the next questions. And we have a couple more, and then I'm going to let you go for today. But just a reminder to everybody, we're going to be back here every Friday for these discussions. And every week, we're going to bring somebody to join our conversation. If you would like to be a part of our conversation, message us. Get on the comments, message us, and we would love to have you there. All right, next question. If you could assemble a dream team of historical figures to mentor small business owners, who would be on your roster and what skill set would they be bringing in?
Well, I'll take a different spin on this as well. And I would say that I wouldn't necessarily have somebody in mind, but I would have a mindset in mind that they would bring on. That would be the skill set of knowing how to think on your feet, and how to understand that without guidance, it's very difficult to really be successful in anything. I mean, you really think about greats like Warren Buffett, for instance, that's so successful in investments, but he was following someone else. You think about Michael Jordan in sports, right? And he's doing all these great things. But the reality is the mindset was what made him so different. His drive, his ability to do the small things, but do them really well. And so I would think I would bring on somebody that had a team really that had that mindset of, hey, look, we're going to figure this out, and we're going to make sure that the consistency that we're doing on an everyday basis is leading us towards where we're wanting to go in the long term.
Yeah, that makes absolute sense. I mean, if it was me, I would probably bring Einstein on the team, and maybe some other folks, but I completely get it. It is very critical to have the right mindset to be an entrepreneur. And speaking of that, let's move on to the next question. Mental health and stress management tactics is huge for any business owner, for entrepreneurs. What advice, if any, do you have, or tactics for small business owners and entrepreneurs to manage their stress and work on their mental health with such crazy lives?
Well, I would say two things. I mean, I think decluttering your mind is really important. And what I mean by that is every single business owner wants to strategize on how they can grow. But the reality is that clarity precedes strategy. You need to have a clear mind. You have to have a clear picture, a financial picture, to be able to structure a roadmap that allows you to be able to get to where you want to get to. Many times, the clutter of just thinking, I have to do this and I have to do this. And every single time you have that in the back of your mind of something that you actually don't want to do, kind of puts more weight on you mentally. And that just causes a lot of stress. And by offloading that, if you will, and having a trustworthy partner, someone that has a vested interest in your success, it just relieves so much stress. I mean, I've had multiple conversations of small business owners that come in and tell me, man, I can actually think now. I feel like, oh, a weight was lifted off my shoulders, knowing that I don't have to just dread every single end of month. And I think that's an amazing thing that we can help people with. And I think the other thing, I mean, in business and in life, really, you learn either one of two ways. You either learn to try to figure things out on your own, make a ton of mistakes, and you just prolong your progress, or you get guidance from someone that has the success that you want, that can guide you through that growth journey, and that can bring in their own skill set that you don't possess to provide you with that guidance.
Absolutely. Great advice, Gilbert. Great advice. And this is like one of the first conversations in a while that we have that does not talk about aliens or anything else. So I really appreciate that. I'm going to ask you I'm going to ask you one last question. You're like the financial Yoda for small business owners. So what's the most valuable lesson you've learned on your journey that you pass on to those struggling to balance their books and grow their business, on your journey of meeting with small business owners, discovering their issues and just being a part of their success?
Yeah, that's a good one. I'll keep it simple. I'll say, unless you're passionate about crunching numbers and you're always trying to figure out that needle in the haystack of why books won't reconcile, just find a partner that will facilitate that cumbersome aspect of every single business and really allow to free up your mind so you can focus on what you do best.
Yeah, that was simple and short and sweet and to the point, because it's a Friday and I'm sure people have a lot of more entertaining things to do this afternoon than listen to us. But hey, everybody who joined, everybody who listened in, thank you. Gilbert, I'm going to leave you be for the rest of the day, but thank you so much for joining us for the first time today. Like I've mentioned, I'm going to be asking you to come back quite often. We will be doing this every Friday. For those listening, if you want to join us, if you want to be a part of the conversation, or if there's something that you want us to talk about specifically, let us know. We would love to bring people on this live stream that can bring benefit and value to you directly. So join us next Friday around the same time. Gilbert, any last words before we go?
I'll just say, honestly, thank you for having me. And I think that everybody should have someone that can help them move forward with their business. And I think you have to start somewhere. Just realizing that you need the help and that you're willing to reach out to get that help is the first step.
So take the next step, which is speaking to Gilbert.
There you go.
Click on the link in the footer, or visit our website. And when you click on that, connect with us, schedule a call. You will be scheduling a call with our very own Gilbert. If you have any questions, do that directly now. His calendar books up quite quickly. And again, thank you for being here, Gilbert. Enjoy your weekend. Enjoy the rest of your day. And we'll see everybody next Friday. Have a good one. Bye.